Welcome to SloPocSports, a special interview out of our normal broadcasting schedule. We have the brand new athletic director at Santa Ynez High School, Cris Avery. How are you doing, Chris?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Yeah, no, we're great to have you. There's a changing of the guard around the Central Coast. I mean, everything from Lompoc's basketball coach to even their baseball coach who's just left to a brand new interim coach over at St. Joe's. So, you get through these motions of having someone come in new, and it's nice. This is a nice way to introduce them to their community and the community abroad here on the Central Coast. So I appreciate you coming on. You've been with Santa Ynez High School for 28 years. What have you done for the school?
So in my previous iterations as teacher coach here, I started in 1989-90, and my job included teaching math full-time along with coaching boys varsity soccer and girls varsity softball. And I stayed with the girls varsity softball for 7 years. In fact, one of the first players that I got the opportunity to coach is currently our head coach of the CIF semifinalist, getting ready to play today. And Dee Dee Domeyer, known as Denicia Gills now, is a really special talent. She's on our athletic wall of honor. She played softball at Hancock College, also played for Point Loma Nazarene, and is a really great to see somebody able to come and give back to the program that benefited a little bit while she was here. So I'm proud of her. And then after my time in coaching soccer, it wasn't my thing. I had coached basketball for 2 years down in Los Angeles before moving up here. And so I took the opportunity as quickly as I could to move over to the boys basketball program. I stayed with the boys basketball program for 14 years, coaching at every level. I finished up with 3 years as varsity basketball coach. Got to coach some amazing talent while I was here, and some guys I still keep in contact with, JV level, freshman level, varsity level, really, really special. So 14 seasons as a basketball coach, 1 year as a soccer coach, and then 7 years as a softball coach. And then when I retired from coaching, it was to go coach my own kids. And so it's been a great community to raise a family in, and really, my wife and I are really happy to live here.
We'll get to the softball, which you mentioned earlier. That part of the reason why we're here today to cover the CIF Southern Section Division 7 semifinal game. Let's go to your children. You have 3 biological children.
Correct.
And I say that because we're going to talk about a fourth that's sort of a foster child that you took in. Have you ever you've coached your children before?
Yeah.
And how do you like that experience, that sort of coaching your children? It's a dynamic that you see a lot of the places. You see it at Lompoc High School currently with Claudia Terrones coaching her daughter Danielle.
It takes a special parent-child relationship to be able to do it effectively. The biggest challenge for the parent coach is trying to set a tone where they're not viewed as favoring their own child player. Unfortunately, I think too many coaches end up going the extreme, and they end up being more difficult on their own kids than maybe they could, and so it ends up hurting the child-parent relationship in terms of athletics. I always sat down before I ever agreed to coach any of my kids in a sport. I would always give them the opportunity. I said, hey, it's most important in my relationship with you. There's an opportunity for me to coach your team. If that's what you would like, then I will do it. And so you have the ability to accept or reject this before we even start. But once we start, we're in this for the rest of the season. And so coaching them in youth baseball, coaching in youth soccer, youth basketball, and it was a great years, great memories, and really set me up for when it got to be a little bit more intense later in life with our foster son.
Good segue, talking to your foster son. For most people, he might be the most famous soccer player coming out of the Central Coast, Abu Danladi. Speak to us about how you came to sort of foster him in your home and sort of his path to where he is now in Major League Soccer.
Well, it's a story that it's almost too good to be true, so to speak, but it's not. My wife and I were sitting down to watch the movie The Blind Side, which is a story of a family in the South who takes in a young man, and he ends up going to play college football and eventually plays NFL football. And at the end of that movie, is a very inspirational movie. My wife asked if I would be open to hosting a young man sometime in that situation, and I said, I guess so. What she heard at that moment was, please go get me a kid from Africa, because that's what ultimately happened a year later. And when she came to me a year later, and I totally forgot the conversation, and she said, okay, he's coming. I said, who's coming? The young man you said we could bring into our home. I said, when did I say we could bring a young man into our home? I mean, my life is too busy, too hectic. There's no way I can do this. And she said, he's already coming, so, just accept it. So that was a challenge. My oldest son graduated high school, went off to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. A short time thereafter, in fact, there was a bit of an overlap. Abu came to join us, and Abu was not even the young man who was supposed to come to our home. Another young man who ended up playing soccer at UCSB named Daniel Amo, he was the young man scheduled, and about 3 weeks before Abu was, just going about his own business, they called Daniel and Abu into the headmaster's office at the soccer academy, the Right to Dream Academy in Ghana, and brought them and said, hey, we're really pleased with the job you're doing, Daniel. We like to keep you here. Abu, you've been a bit of a challenge for us. We think it'd be better to change of scenery, so we're shipping you off to Solvang, California. And he had no idea what he was getting into. We had no idea, but it was a match made in heaven, and it really worked out well. He got to go to Dunn School, played for the Earwigs, then played for Santa Barbara Soccer Club, coached by some great coaches down there, Lloyd Biggs and Rudy, and it was just a really great opportunity for him. And then his path led him to go to the alma mater, both myself and my wife, and he ended up going to UCLA. And it was a great fit for him down there at that program. He had opportunities to prematurely, leave that or not even start there and start his professional career in Europe. And those opportunities just didn't go. In his mind, they weren't the right fit, weren't the right time. He wasn't ready for it. And so this past January, he made himself available for a super draft, and he was number 1 overall selection and drafted to a team where he's got a great bunch of teammates. His coach is a phenomenal coach, especially for his position, and just doing really well. Has his own place in Minneapolis, and we're very proud of where he's at this point in his life, and has matured so much over the past 6 years, and we're really looking forward to his future.
Yeah, and it's always fortunate that ability to take in a foster child, as you said, your wife sort of push it on you.
Correct.
Myself and my brother push it on my mother because we were going to school with a young man who he needed a foster parent because he was going to be leaving his other parent. So the opportunity to bring someone in, become a brother, and work on making them good young men.
It's for me, I'd be perfectly honest with your listeners that it wasn't, there was nothing truly noble on my part at the beginning, because I was a reluctant participant in this. I was just trying to keep marital bliss going on in my home, and knew how important it was to my wife and trusted her judgment on it. Once we got into the situation, my parenting nature took over, and I was that bus driver, van driver, taking players down all over Southern California for club soccer matches, and just the journey made it that much more special. I mean, again, we didn't know who we were getting. We were fortunate to get a striker. If they would have sent a goalie, we would have been pleased, but it's obviously more entertaining to have a goal scorer there, because you get a lot more positive feedback.
No, it's sort of, your child's lineman. He's not the running back, or, he's the linebacker.
We love our linemen. We love our goalies. Striker's a different thing.
Yeah. So moving into athletic director, you're taking over for Ken Fredrickson, who's been here for 19 years. He's built quite a legacy here at Santa Ynez High School. I mean, such success through all the programs, great aquatics, great cross country and track.
Yep.
You've got baseball, who 2014 champions, lost in the quarterfinals this year, and currently with this softball team ready to go here today in the semifinal game. Hopefully, when people are listening to it, they're on to the next round. But how have you prepared to sort of take over for Ken?
Well, you can't really replace Ken. I'm not following my own advice. You never want to be the man who follows the legend. You want to be the person who follows the legend, to give you a little buffer zone between being compared to their legacy versus setting your own hallmark or your own reputation. I would say that the timing is right. I'm at a point in my career where, having taught for 30 years, I can envision trying this thing out. I'm definitely in love with the classroom, and more than happy if a situation comes up in the future where the other half of my athletic director job changes to be teaching math. I'm totally open and would embrace that. But I'm really looking forward to this opportunity. I've been able to essentially intern under Ken for 19 years. The way that he handles people, I have a role model in him. The way that he keeps a level head, just the standard of moral excellence that he has, the way he treats people, and it's really about being a service to your coaches. And your number one job is to really make your coaches the most effective that they can be so that they can help their athletes become the most effective they can be. You also want to set a good tone for understanding that athletics here at Santa Ynez High School, we have close to 70% of our students play at least one sport. So it's one of the best academic motivators. Very few activities makes kids have a standard of excellence in the classroom. Sports is one of those. So it touches on the fabric of the entire community. We're obviously open because we're public figures to criticism for second guessing the way things are done, and my job is to try and insulate my coaches to the best of my ability to make sure that what gets through to them is fair, equitable, balanced, and that we have the best interests of our student athletes in mind, and ultimately we're representatives of the entire community, and we want to represent them with pride.
So I'm going to finish up with something I'm more biased to. I volunteer coach water polo through the city of Lompoc, and I'm a coach with the club team in Lompoc Tsunami Aquatics. So you guys have plans to build a brand new pool,
Yes.
Olympic size.
Yes.
And how's that process been going? And do we have a groundbreaking date or sort of a final completion?
So we have acquired the pool. The pool is in the valley, but the pool's not in the ground because we have to fundraise for the infrastructure going in around the pool. And so that process is ongoing. We appreciate any donations and support towards that end. I believe that we will have most optimistic is that we would have a groundbreaking in 2018. Our school district recently passed a bond to help support infrastructure modernization here, just fixing roofs, plumbing, electricity, making it more energy efficient, and all of those things are going on. And at the same time, we have this big addition project, which is the pool. And so we have the plans are already made. We know the dollar cost, and now we're raising funds to doing that. And again, if somebody came out and wrote a big check tomorrow, we could probably start this a lot sooner. I'm thinking we're going to be looking somewhere in the 2018 time for the official groundbreaking, because we're going to have to, at least for a season, probably shut off our own pool to make this thing happen. Because our pool's used year-round, so we're going to have to shut it down because it's going to go in the footprint there, but facing along perpendicular to where the existing pool is. And it's going to be bigger, have improved locker room facility for our aquatic athletes, and it should be a model for aquatics on the Central Coast. And so we're really definitely looking forward to that.
And for those that don't know, you actually have a prefab pool.
Correct.
That you're essentially sort of digging a hole, putting the drainage, everything else,
Correct.
and you're just putting it in the ground, and then you can build around it.
Correct. It's actually an Olympic training pool, and we have a local community member who swam in the Olympics. Pardon me if it's swam, have swum. Again, I'm a math teacher, but anyways, Gary Hall Jr., great resource, and so we have the pool. It's nearby, but it's not in the ground yet. So we have to do all the things to get it ready to go in the ground, and then we'll just be able to set it in and then make everything nice around it.
Well, I'll tell you, as a swimmer, I look forward to, in the future, coming and just swimming some laps in the pool.
Everybody will be able to come and swim some laps in the pool. It's going to be a spectacular thing when it's completed.
All right, well, I thank you for coming on the program, and we have a softball game to go watch, so I look forward to seeing that. And there's some people that I know that came over from Lompoc to help assistant coach and everything else. So it's
Sweet.
exciting to watch some of the people from my community come and coach with the Santa Ynez community. So I look forward to that, and best of luck on your new endeavor as athletic director.
Hey, thank you. And thank you for having me on and giving us a chance to talk about what's going on around here.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Well, that was Cris Avery, the brand new athletic director at Santa Ynez High School. We'll talk to you later.